To the press conference for the first big fight card of 2018, the first big fight card at the Barclays Center in 2018, and Showtime's first big card of the year. This is a great night for boxing, actually. We were just discussing this. It seems that that January date, that first date of the year, drums up a lot of excitement, and there's a great turnout today. And we're going to have a great turnout at the Barclays Center on Saturday night. Ticket sales are going really, really well. Fans, if you want your tickets, call now. Call Ticketmaster, or go on Ticketmaster.com, BarclaysCenter.com. Go to Barclays Center box office. Get your tickets now. We're going to have a great, great crowd on Saturday night, and it's going to be an exciting night from top to bottom. And it should be, because you have one of the best young fighters in the world fighting a guy who's one of the best fighters in the world. The best fighting the best. That's what it's all about. And that's the main event you have on Saturday night. When you have Errol Spence, you don't have to say a lot about Errol. His rep is speaking for itself. And Lamont Peterson's a guy with a tremendous resume, a champion in his own right. You know, anybody who thinks that Errol Spence can look past Lamont Peterson doesn't know Lamont Peterson and hasn't paid attention to this man's whole career. There's no doubt that Errol is one of the best young fighters in the game. There's also no doubt that he's going to be tested to the max this Saturday night, because he's in there with another champion. And that's the way it's supposed to be. So this Saturday night, Showtime Championship Boxing, presented by Premier Boxing Champions at the Barclays Center. The telecast begins 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. The doors in the first bout are at 5:30. There'll be a live stream of two of the undercard bouts, featuring Marcus Brown and Adam Konoski. In the audience right now, Yago Kalazzi, stand up, Yago. Yago will be fighting Adam Konoski on the undercard. Francie and Tutu. Francie will be fighting Marcus Brown on that undercard. I think part of the reason why we're doing so great Saturday night is that the tickets for this event were priced perfectly. They start at $50. They're affordable. There are great seats still available, and there are plenty of seats, upstairs for those who want to join us. What Showtime's been doing for a long time now is special, and frankly, so is what Premier Boxing Champions have been doing in terms of matching some of the best fights in the business on a regular basis, creating a brand by taking the best and matching them with the best. And we got to keep doing more of that. I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge in the crowd, I mentioned two of the great trainers that are sitting on the dais. There's a great trainer sitting in the audience, a Hall of Famer. He was a warrior in the ring as a fighter, and really one of the great teachers in the history of boxing training, Freddie Roach. And I'm going to hand it over to one of the busiest men in sports commentary, a guy that's working constantly and is on your television constantly, and he deserves to be because he's one of the best, Brian Custer. So Brian, this is all yours. And also translating for Javier Fortuna will be the illustrious Samson Lukovic.
Thank you, Lou. Good afternoon, everybody. Of course, on Saturday night, 2 world title fights on Showtime Championship Boxing. We'll begin the night with Robert Easter Jr., Javier Fortuna, and Robert making his 3rd title defense of his IBF Lightweight World Championship. So we'll begin there. And Robert, considering it is your 3rd title defense, I think the last time we saw you in the ring up against a crafty lefty and Dennis Shafikov, and it was really an all-out, all-action fight. So given that, you're facing another lefty who's got punching power, says he's coming to knock you out. Any concerns facing another lefty?
No, there's no concerns. You know, my last fight, I was against a lefty, tough lefty. You know, I made that fight hard. But I'm coming out different this fight. You know, I'm using my my reach and my feet and my speed. You know, Javier Fortuna is a 2-time former world champion. I just found that out. Really don't know much about the guy. You know, I'm not, you know, shine that he's a 2-time world champion, but I know what I came to do. you know, and that's to put hands on a man and man down, you know. And I'm a world champion, as you know, and these people know what I bring to the fight game. You know, I don't leave without my strap, you know. So it's man down come January 20th.
All right. Javier, you know, he just basically said he really didn't know that you were a former world champion until just now. You think that he made a mistake in taking this fight against you?
Bueno, para mí yo creo que ya es tarde para él darse cuenta ahora que fui 2 veces campeón.
It's too late now to find out that I was twice world champion.
Yo lo que espero que él y su equipo no tengan ninguna excusa el día 20 cuando estemos arriba del ring.
I hope so that I have no excuse on the 20, on top of the ring.
Porque ese título me lo llevo yo para República Dominicana y la fanaticada del boxeo.
And that title, I will take it to the Dominican Republic for my fans.
Ya hasta ese día llegó él perteneciendo sobre ese título.
I dreaming about it, and I will take it with me.
Con Dios por delante, ese título será mío.
God, God in front, I will bring that title for me.
Robert, just your response.
He got a man talking for him, but he ain't gonna have a man fighting for him in there. That's all I gotta say.
Javier, what would a win over a world champion like Robert Easter Jr. do for you in your career?
Eso sería, ganándole a Robert Easter, sería un galardón para mi carrera y para mi equipo y mi país.
A win which I willing to it will be great for my country and for my fans, for my family.
And Robert, we'll wrap it up with this. Certainly, we're looking forward to Saturday night, but what about the future for you? Will we see you fighting a lot more in the year? You've talked about unifying titles. What does 2018 look like for Robert Easter Jr.?
Of course, I want to unify these titles. You know, boxing is all about showing that you're the best and fighting the best, and that's what I want to do. You know, fight these other champions in my weight class, and most importantly, just stay healthy and remain on top, and you know, finish the year off undefeated like the years before.
Again, that will be the first fight you'll see Saturday night. And then we come to the main event. A welterweight scrap. Errol the Truth Spence taking on Lamont Peterson. IBF Welterweight World Championship at stake. And, you know, Errol, I think we talked a little bit about this fight not too long ago. But before you were world champion, you know, people knew you were the truth, but some people even questioned whether or not he had the goods. Now that you're world champion, is there anything left for you to prove? What does this fight mean to you?
This fight means everything to me. It's still a lot to prove. I still have a chip on my shoulder. Like I said, I want to clean out the division. You know, I want to be the last man standing. So that's what I'm going to do. You know, I want to fight the top fighters. I want to beat the top fighters at my division. So, you know, I got Lamont. So it's fight time.
Lamont, when you look at your resume, you fought some top guys. I mean, you can go down the names from Khan to everybody that you've been in the ring with. So given that, what does this fight mean to you at this stage of your career against somebody like Errol Spence?
Well, when I got into boxing, when you get into anything, you have goals. First, you know, you want to be, you know, starting in the amateurs, a national champion. You know, you want to fight on an Olympic team. You want to become a world champion as a professional. But the ultimate goal is to be in the Hall of Fame. Honestly speaking, me looking at that, and that's my goal. But at this point in my career, I wouldn't put me into the Hall of Fame. But with the win over a guy like, you know, Errol Spence And, you know, if everyone decides to actually fight each other at welterweight, and if I can make it through all of them names, I'll put myself in. So that's why I signed up for these fights, and that's my goal. And then, of course, I'm going to give them all to get there.
I remember you said, Errol, that, listen, maybe at the beginning we may box a little, but eventually this was probably going to be a dog fight. Do you anticipate on Saturday that's what Brooklyn and the world's going to see, a dog fight, and a fight where Lamont Peterson brings you in and says, okay, we're two of the best body punchers in the game, let's slug it out?
I think so. I mean, like a lot of people are kind of putting this fight to the side, thinking it's going to be an easy fight. And anybody who follows my piece, and they know, it's going to be a hard fight. He always comes in shape. He's always in dog shape, has a lot of experience, and has a lot of skills. Boxing and banging. So I know I'm in for a tough fight. I know it could be a dog fight, and that's why, I wanted to fight Lamont. Lamont was the only guy left. Nobody else wanted to fight. So my manager came to me and said, "What about Lamont?" And I said, "Yeah, of course," because nobody wants to fight Lamont. So I took the fight. Now, it's going to be a tough fight, man. It's going to be a tough, rugged fight. If you watch Lamont fight, you know that later on in the fight, it gets rough. He starts out boxing, then he ends up standing there in the paint and fighting toe-to-toe. So, and you watch my fights, my fights always get rough. Either the guy's fleeing or the guy has no choice but to stand there and fight. So, I mean, you know what it's going to be. It's going to be a rough fight. It might not be a lot of talking and a lot of, propaganda and we pushing each other and spitting each other's face and things like that. But you know what you get out of Errol Spence and Lamont Peterson fight. You get a dog fight, you get a great fight, you get a fan-friendly fight.
I think going into this one, I think you fought one time last year. You fought basically one time last year. Will we see Lamont Peterson more active this year in 2018?
Hope so. You left it to me, I'll fight every month. I love boxing that much. But I know, it's a business side of boxing, and I'm okay with that. But I know, with a victory this weekend, it helps me fight more often. You kind of get caught in those situations where a lot of times you're at the top level and you might lose a fight or two, and then those top guys don't want to take that chance. They know your worth, but they can always use that against you. So I think I can regain my footing with that with a victory this weekend.
And when you look at your resume and the number of people you fought, there's no question. People don't question your credentials. But then they'll say, but when it seems like when he's fought top guys, he's come up short. How do you respond to that?
I can't respond to it. Honestly, I mean, it's in the history books. It's written. It's over and done with. They can, however you feel about that, I respect it. There's nothing I can do about it.
Errol, you've talked about wiping out the welterweight division. Does that mean fighting actively, like 3 times a year? What does that mean to you when you talk about wiping out the division and being more active?
That means staying active. I haven't been active as recently, due to waiting. I had to wait for my title defense and things like that. And then, I had a lot of guys, not answering the call. A lot of guys, Al's didn't call these guys saying they're not, reporters mention my name. They try to make an excuse, this and that. Okay, I have a belt now. I went over there and got the belt. So what's the excuse now? And I'm still calling it. I have a belt and I'm still calling these dudes out. Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, all these guys. He wouldn't be sitting here if Keith Thurman or Danny Garcia or Sean Porter said they'll take the fight. I shouldn't be a world champion having to call these dudes out. And Lamont Peterson answered the call like a real fighter and like a real soldier should do.
So what do you see in 2018 for you? In a perfect world, what do you see for Errol Spence in 2018?
Well, in the perfect world, I'd be unifying with Keith Thurman or something like that. Or, I want to fight 3 times a year. I'm going to stay active. I'm not going to wait on, I'm not going to wait on anybody or, something you don't get back is time. You don't get time back. So I'm not going to wait around and be waiting on fighters to get ready and, they need to have tune-up fights or they want to fight me in 2020 and things like that. I'm not going to wait at all.
Barry, You've been with Lamont a long time. Why don't you tell the people what you've seen in camp and maybe give them a sense of something that they don't know about Lamont going into this fight?
I can't say it's nothing that that'll be different. If and you know us, and everybody we prepare for, you could be 0-20 or 20-0. We prepare for you the same way as if you're a world champion, undisputed, or what have you. This is a sport that you can never ever sleep on anybody, because all it takes is one punch. And if you listen to what Errol just said, they didn't answer the phone for him. Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, we were going down the line. Lamont was the same way. He was avoided, as if they were boogeymen or something. We answered the call for Keith. We answered the call for Danny again. And y'all guys saw that what happened the first time. And Kell Brook. As a matter of fact, before Earl fought Kell, we got the call for Kell. We agreed to the fight, but it went out the window. So I'm with Earl. How can you say that you are the best and you don't fight the best? You had Ray Leonard, you had Hagler, you had Hearns, at Duran. What made boxing great back then, all those guys fought each other. They had no problem with doing so. And we the same way. I have no problem if I put my son on the stage in the ring versus whomever, because I know how we train. I know what we prepare for. So I don't think that you'll see, or we didn't do anything different. We treated this camp like we treat every camp. We train hard. So that's why we don't get up here clowning out and all that old garbage, because for the most part, when people do that, they scared anyway. These what matter in this sport right here. And just like anything else, come Saturday, we'll be ready to do what we do.
Derek, Trainer of the Year. With that comes a lot of notoriety. Does more pressure come with that now? People look at you differently when you're Trainer of the Year and you've got a world champion, a couple of world champions in your stable.
Yeah, you know, it's a little different situation, but I don't buy into it. I don't listen to it. I just kind of keep pushing along and try to continue to be the best that I am, and that to give my guys whatever they need to give them. And you know, I don't buy it. I mean, I've been recognized as that, and I appreciate that, and I love it, but it doesn't make me. You know, I just continue to keep building and keep developing myself and develop my guys, because there's more for me out there. I'm still young in the sport, and so I just keep moving.
You know, I was reading something, and it almost gave the impression that he's a newbie to the scene, and he's splashed on the scene now with Errol and Charlo. But you've been in the fight game a long time. Now you're going up against, training-wise, one of the best. Is there any kind of competition between the trainers when you get into fights like this?
No, it's not. I mean, I've been in boxing for 40 years. Started boxing when I was 5 years old. I'm 45 now. And there's no competition between me and Barry. Barry is this guy, who he is, and I'm who I am. My focus is to, like I said, to continue to grow, continue to help my guy, Errol and Jamel, Charlo, and Rob Brennan, and other guys be better. And so, and his job is to help his guys, and that's the focus. And when we're in the corner, you know, my deal is for Errol. His deal is for Lamont. And I don't think about beating him. I want my guy to be the best, to go out there and do his deal.
Lastly, for you, Barry, considering that these guys sparred together a long time ago, know each other very well, does that experience help at all in a fight like this?
Yes, and it can. And in the case with Errol and Lamont working, and it's funny because I'm sitting here, Freddie was there in camp with us, Mike Stafford over there was in camp with us, Marcus Brown you spoke about was there. We had a great time. So it's almost like a reunion of sort. Lamont inspires so many different people, you know, and I doubt very seriously if, you know, after that, because he do more teaching than anything, after that, if he thought about it anymore. Like Earl said, come Saturday, you're going to have two guys going in there that they're not old, they're not banged up, they're skillful, and they're dog fighters. So it may start off tactical, but somewhere in that fight that night, I think it's going to end up being a war. Other than that, come Saturday, I'm just looking for a great fight. And congratulations to Derek for winning Coach of the Year. I remember when I first seen him come through the scene, he worked hard to get here. They grind to get here just like us. I'm proud of him.
Fantastic. We'll just give you guys the last word and go give it all to the fighters. Lamont, what excites you about this fight?
I'm excited, honestly, and looking forward to the skill level that's going to be displayed this weekend. You know, people can look at it, you know, it's going to be a rough fight, that's for sure. But what I look forward to is the technique, the skill level, defense, offense, being able to translate between both of them. That's what I'll probably enjoy if I go back. When I go back and watch the fight, that's what I'll be looking at. That's what I'll enjoy. That's the part of boxing that I love.
And Errol, what excites you on Saturday night?
I'm just excited to fight. Man, I just like to fight. I'm excited to fight. I'm excited to be under those bright lights in front of those cameras, in front of all the fans, and you know.
Does it excite you to be back in New York? I mean, obviously you were born here, but obviously I know you're a Dallas guy, went there as a baby, but you still got family here in New York, and
Definitely, I'm excited because you know, my family get to see me fight live. You know, they don't have the funds to come, you know, overseas to watch me fight or go anywhere else. So, you know, it's exciting for them to come see me fight and display my skills in front of them.
all right, we're going to take some questions from members of the media. We've got Matt here. Just please acknowledge who you are and let them know who your question's for.
Lamont, what impressed you about Errol's performance against Kell Brook?
He displayed just even taking the fight and going over there, you know, for his first title fight was impressive to me, because a lot of times when a young fighter, especially one who is talked about as much as Errol is, they kind of take their time and be patient with the fighter, and he normally fights an older, more washed up fighter to get his championship. But he ended up fighting a guy that was in his prime, in his country, and to will himself to win that fight says a lot about him. I was impressed.
Stouser.
Lamont and Errol, you've conducted yourselves as exemplary sportsmen, and your teams have also. We seem to have lost that civility in our national dialogue today. Lamont, you're from Washington. I wonder if you and then Errol could comment on how you feel about all that and what's happening in the country at large.
You had two questions. You said how we
Well,
conducted
how do you
ourselves, and then
feel
start talking
about
the
the
country.
national dialogue today and the lack of respect that seems to be emanating from the White House towards people?
I mean, it's
Fight week. We ready to fight.
You're ready to fight, but you treat each other with respect. And Errol, you commented the last time you were in New York about the national anthem protests, and I wondered if you could pick up on that. And both of you talk in general about what you see and how you feel about what's happening in this country today.
I mean,
and if Barry and Derek want to join in, that's fine.
I mean, it's basically what I stated, you know, when we talked at the press conference. I mean, people have freedom of speech to say whatever they want to say. So, I mean, that's just about it.
Lamont?
Well, for me, I just feel like I respect everyone who get in the ring. And honestly, just if I saw you and didn't know you, I'm going to respect you. And that's just who I am. I feel like a lot of other people should be that way, but they're not. And I just have to respect that too.
Good.
Barry?
I'm with Lamont, you know, but I know where you're coming from. There's been a lack of respect around the world. Cut the TV on, every time you cut the news on, I mean, this is a different place. It's a different world now. So I think, I don't want to sound corny, but we do need more love out here to survive. You know what I mean? If not, it's going to be even worse. So just keep loving each other and doing what we do.
Love it. Who's next?
Radio Raheem boxing scene. Errol Spence, you talked about being frustrated trying to get other champions to answer your call to take fights. I'm curious for you what constitutes a true champion, how you conduct yourself, how you select fights. And Lamont Peterson, you talked about wanting to be in the Hall of Fame. That's what drives you. I'm curious what you think constitutes a Hall of Fame fighter. What gets a guy in there? What does he have to have or do to be worthy of that honor?
Well, I guess I'll go first. For me, of course, winning multiple world titles, being able to do that throughout, I wouldn't ask anyone to, to jump up weight classes like Pacquiao, like that's rare. But to be within that range and to take on all comers at any time and to represent yourself the best way you can. When you get to those big stages and those big fights, I think you have to win more than lose. And at this point, I'm kind of right there. And if I feel like if I can run these last few off for the next few years, I should be good enough to be in.
Errol?
And what make a true champion is just, I'm not saying you fight anybody, who calls you out and things like that, because at the end of the day, it's still a business too. You got to feed your family, you got to go what makes sense. But when a true champion, fight other champions, especially when they're available. If you got another top fighter available, number 2 or 3 top fighter available, you have another champion available, you fight him, or you don't avoid questions, or you don't go around questions, or try to prolong something, or say you're not gonna fight this guy and do this and that. You fight that fighter, you fight the next champion that's available. So that's what a true champion does.
Guys, we want to thank you. All of you members of the media that get opportunities to get your one-on-ones. I want to say to Javier, to Lamont, to Errol, to Robert, best of luck to you Saturday night. It all begins at 9 p.m. Eastern on Showtime Championship Boxing. As we conclude, we would like to have the fighters to face off.